Hey guys, um, it's about 8:38, I think, here in Louisville, Kentucky. Um, anyway, I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm emotional. This is going to be an emotional live. So if you're watching the replay, I'm okay, physically. I just wanted to come and share something that happened tonight. And I'll probably cry, and that's okay. That's me. I'm an emotional person. But I'm here for a company event, and the whole trip so far, there's just been blessings after blessings after blessings for me. And I did travel alone. And anyway, tonight we had a company meet and greet, and during that, I think it's still going, I think, for another 30 minutes, but I was getting hungry. My tummy was growling, so I thought, well, they had a fire walk, and I wasn't participating in that, and the smoke was getting me. I thought, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to my room before it gets too late. And I started walking away, and for some reason, I thought, well, maybe I'll go down to 4th Street. There's a big street down here called 4th Street Live that just has food, place after food, place after food place. And they're supposed to have a live band and stuff. I thought, well, I'll just go check that out. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people from, the company there. So I'll be with family, but not with, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's just one block away, and I was walking down there. There was one kind of dark area. But I come up to the corner, and there was a man standing there who's obviously a homeless man, had his backpack and his jacket on, and it is pretty cool here tonight. I don't know, in the 40s. Anyway, and he spoke to me. He said, "Hello, how are you doing tonight?" I said, "I'm good, thank you, how are you?" And he said, "I'm good." And I turned to the street, the stoplight, to walk across, and there was vehicles, and of course you have the no walking sign, so I had to stop. And then he told me, he said, "You look pretty tonight," and he took a big step towards me, so he was like within 3 feet behind me, and I was there alone, even though there was people around. And I panicked inside for a minute, and I was like, oh, I can't go anywhere because the traffic's coming, and I can't walk across the street unless I want to get ran over, right? But I just had this feeling all of a sudden, and thankfully the light switched for me to walk, and about that time, 2 gentlemen and a lady come walking, just started across. So I took, a couple of quick steps and caught up, and I said, "Excuse me, guys, can I please walk with y'all for a minute?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, come on." And so, they let me pass the street. We walked about a block together, and they asked if everything was okay, and I said, yeah, just a little awkward situation. And one of the men commented that there was a lot of panhandlers around the area that they had ran into, and we're surprised with it being such a big tourist spot. You'd think there'd be more security around. Anyway, so we chatted for a bit and walked into 4th Street, and didn't see anything that I really wanted to eat, and I was just feeling anxious. I thought, I just need to go back to the room before it gets any later. And there was a lot of people coming in, so I felt like it was a safe time for me to turn and walk back. Anyway, I thanked him for letting me walk with him, and then I made a U-turn and headed back. And I was very diligent, watching where I was going before I got there, to see if I needed to turn a different way. So I made it back through the light. The guy wasn't there anymore. He had moved on. And as I was heading back towards my room, there was a man walking, different colored outfit, backpack on, and he was walking kind of slow. And at that time, of course, my defenses were up. You know how you get in these situations, and your defenses get up. And so I moved to the edge of the street, and I was walking quicker and with authority. I'm on a mission. And I heard this soft voice say, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you help me get some food?" And my initial response was, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash on me." And I turned while I was saying it, and I looked at him, because I like to at least try to look at people. But I looked at him in his eyes. He caught me, and it was different. Anyway, he was different. He looked broken. He looked humble. And he reminded me of a youth that used to go to our church. He's graduated now and doing well, but he had the same look, mannerisms. Anyway, and as I said that, and we made eye contact, and I turned and he said, "Well, that's okay. You have a blessed night." Anyway, and I was like, "Thank you, you too." And I kept walking, and I met these two ladies coming back, and I was wondering, well, maybe he'll ask them, maybe they'll have some cash on them, you know. But they walked right by, and I didn't hear him say anything. So I turned as they walked, and I was just kind of look, and he just had his head hung down while he was walking and didn't speak to them. And so it broke my heart. Anyway, so we kept walking, and I was walking quick, and I just said, "Lord, you know, there's no food places around where we were at. You know, how could I help him? How can I be a help to him without putting myself in any kind of situation that I don't need to be in?" And came up to a light. He crossed over kind of catty corner and was kind of going the same direction as me, but I went to the light. I didn't jaywalk. And I saw him go into a cigarette store in front of me. And of course I think, well, yeah, he's gonna get cigarettes, you know. Good thing I didn't give him money, you know, all these things that go through our head. Thank you, Tiffany, I love you too. But I met a man on the street that I asked him, I said, "Excuse me, sir, would you please do me a favor?" And he's like, "Sure, what?" And I said, "Would you look in this building and tell me, is there food in here or is it just cigarettes?" And I said, and I told him quickly the situation. And I said, "The man's in there, but I don't want to go in there by myself." And I mean, this looked like a night, you know, he looked like somebody I could approach. And he said, "Yeah, sure." And he looked and he said, "Well, there's candy in there and some drinks." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I think I want to go." Anyway, the homeless man had come out at that time and started walking away. And I looked at him. He was in there trying to count change in his hand. He didn't buy anything. He walked out. And so I said, "Excuse me, sir, if you would like to go back in," I said, I know that they don't have much. I said, "But I could buy you something to eat in here." And he's like, "Yeah, thank you." So he went in and I told him, I said, "Just, you know, see get what you want." And he went and got king size Reese's. And I asked the guy at the counter, I said, "Do you have any chips or anything?" And he said, "No, just candy bars." And so he put that on the counter, and I said, "What about something to drink too? Are you thirsty?" And he said, "I would really appreciate that." "Yes, ma'am." So he went and got one of those big tea in a can, those really big things. And he put it up there, and then the cashier asked the man that had come in with me, "So can I help you?" He said, "No, we're together. I'm in here with her." And I thought, thank you so much. You know, I mean, that guy stood there. Anyway, and I paid for that. I mean, seriously, all $3.16. And it wasn't much at all, but I know it's something in his tummy. And I said, "There you go." I said, "I hope that helps." And he said, "Thank you so much." And he took it and left. And I walked out with a guy, and we walked back towards the event for a little bit. And then I turned and came back to my apartment. But y'all, it's just something that just made me be more, just to think about more, is that how many times do we get into a situation that is a negative situation, like the first man that approached me and stepped up behind me to tell me how pretty I was and just made me just so uncomfortable, to let something like that negative impact us and how we treat the next person that was genuinely humble. Anyway, so I've been crying. So you don't get to see me crying. But it's just like, you know, don't let the world just make us so hard and forget the blessings that we have that we could share with others, even if it's a candy bar. So I wanted to share that. Just a little reminder for you guys and for me that every situation's different, and to not forget that there are ways that we can be blessings to others. And I'll be extra grateful tonight when I warm up my food and have my supper. And I'll be extra grateful tonight for my warm house here, the apartment that I'm in, and extra grateful for the hot water when I take my shower. Anyway, y'all be a blessing, and don't forget to be a blessing. And if you feel that you're in an unexpected situation and not sure how to handle it, look around, because there's other people that are around that can kind of help you out. And like that man that stepped in there with me and just stood there, I'm with her. So it made me feel safe. But just don't forget, no matter what life throws at us, I could be in that situation just as easy, and don't know his situation, any of them. Why are some people on the streets and other people are in mansions? We don't know. But don't forget to be a blessing, and don't let life make you harden your heart to others that are around you. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here, and I might cry some more. I don't know. That's just me. It broke my heart. But be thankful and share what you have when you can share it, and it's in a safe place to share it. And y'all have a good night. I love all of y'all. Thank y'all for crying with me. If you did, let me know. I'm not by myself. Anyway, be humble, be kind, be a blessing always. I love you guys, and y'all have a good night.